Hi, I'm Pastor Horton. Welcome to this week's devotional, where we're talking about evasion. Last week, we talked about discernment through Solomon and Daniel. This week, like I said, we're going to look at evasion, which we're going to define as not following what God deems is right for us. A prime example of this, and one that I learned at a very young age, is the story of Jonah. Jonah 1:3a says, "But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed for Tarshish." A little bit of context. Jonah had been called by God to minister to the people of Nineveh, but Jonah didn't want to. Instead, he found a port city and got on a boat to sail far away from there. By choosing to avoid God's calling, Jonah was putting his own desires before the path that God had laid before him. In our own lives, we often find times when our own desires conflict with what we feel God is calling us to do. I know in my own life I find that happens so much. One instance is, truthfully, doing ministry. I feel called to do it. But for a long time I was driven by money, and that's not why you get into ministry. At a point like that, we have two choices: to avoid the call or to obey and follow what God is asking of us. By following, we're discerning the right path to take in life, which leads us closer to a life with God. Should we choose to avoid, though, God will help us guide back to His plan and to find His path for us, which we did see with Jonah. This week, let's all ask ourselves, are we putting ourselves first, or are we putting God's plan first? I hope that you've enjoyed this, and please remember to share this with somebody else. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and God bless.